Yes, this background might look really cool, but I am in a constant fight against the sun. I'm basically facing 6 giant windows. I've had to patch up with curtains and things to diffuse the sunlight, and no matter how hard I try, there's always one little spot of sunlight. You know what? I'm not gonna care about this little spot because it's not on my face, it's just right here, and people are just gonna have to deal with these things. I wanted to make a super fast video about something a little bit different than what I would normally talk about. It's a topic that I think everybody is, somewhat interested in, given the modern age of technology, but photographers for sure, and videographers, and that's portable battery solutions. Most of my career has been spent with 1 to 2 weeks every single month. On the road, traveling somewhere near, somewhere far. But historically, it hasn't taken long for me to need some kind of backup battery solution. And I have spent literally thousands of dollars trying out different batteries over the years. I had, I think, the most success maybe 4 or 5 years ago on Kickstarter with a battery called Hyperjuice, but they had a special formula of the batteries they were using and the actual enclosure that they had to deliver absolutely the best battery life I was ever able to find to actually power my laptop and a few other devices while I was at it. It was an amazing piece of battery, but recently, given that it's 4 or 5 years old now, and a bit unfortunate that it stopped working. So though I had tried a lot of other batteries in between those years, nothing had ever topped the Hyperjuice little battery brick that I had. I tried something from a company called OmniCharge, and I'm talking dozens and dozens of batteries. And it's super rare that I'll find a battery that not only has something beyond 20,000 or so milliamp hours. The battery I'm about to talk about has 25,000. I prefer it to be closer to 30, but maybe we'll talk more about that in a minute. But it would always be a problem of there wasn't enough battery power in the brick itself, or I wasn't getting enough in and out ports. I was only getting maybe one 100-watt port, or maybe no USB-C ports, or too many Type A. Like, there was always a trade-off of ports that I found really frustrating. So I believe it was on Kickstarter that I came across this tiny little charger from a company called Chargeasap. So not a particularly creative brand name, but I threw, I don't know, $50, $60. You have to check their website on how much they cost. With anything on Kickstarter that launches, I always kind of forget how much things actually are gonna cost people, because in the Kickstarter campaign, there's usually a bit of a discount, and then it usually comes about a year or two later. So I have definitely forgotten how much money I spent on it. But I was fascinated with the fact that this little charger would have 2 100-watt USB-C ports and a 22.5-watt USB-A port, and have one of my favorite features for anything travel related, which is a collapsible outlet prong thingy. I'm sorry, I don't know the technical name for those, but the fact that that can collapse into it and make this flush and super easy to pack was pretty critical for me. There's another charger I've used for years from the company that made that original battery that I enjoyed, called Hyperjuice, which is a similar size, but this is probably about half the size. This one would give you 2 100-watt USB-C chargers and 2 18-watt Type A chargers. I still have, these are about $100 each. I think I have about 6 of these floating around, but I bought 2 of these through Chargeasap's Kickstarter campaign. And so I was immediately on their mailing list for any other new products that they put out. And this one caught my eye pretty quickly because I thought they were launching something photography related, like an actual flash. They call it the Flash Pro Plus. But I guess in their branding, they're using the word flash to mean, like it's a really fast charger or whatever. Fine, whatever, caught my eye. And once I dove into the actual campaign, I saw something I've been desperately searching for in a battery charger ever since the OmniCharge stuff launched. And that's a built-in on-screen display to show you how many watts and amps and volts are being used in whatever you're charging, whether it's this device itself or what this device is charging. The reason that has become increasingly interesting for me is that all of this USB-C, Thunderbolt 2, Thunderbolt 3, Thunderbolt 4 technology that's been rolling out pretty quickly the past couple years. So I'm sure you all have been frustrated with just the fact that, one, having the cable not work at all with your device, which is what's happening here when I'm trying to charge my Canon R3. I'm gonna switch to another sort of multi-hybrid USB-C Lightning mini cable, and boom, this cable actually works. But there's nothing labeled on this cable. I'd have to dive back and remember from the actual marketing materials what the specs on this cable include to actually know with confidence that it's going to charge, and it's going to charge at a fast enough rate. Now I'm gonna compare this one cable to a Thunderbolt 3 USB-C cable. This is charging at 15 watts, 5 volts, and 3 amps. So let's remember that. 15.5.3 is charging at 14.5, 2.8 amps. Oop, it's just ramped up to 14.5. 2.9. So it's so bizarre to me, these inconsistencies with cables that look like they should have the same charge speed, same transfer speed, but actually don't. So, oh, it's actually dropped to 12 watts just a little bit. So yeah, at the end of the day, I might, just having monitored that for a little bit, I'm gonna be a little bit more inclined to use this blue cable and probably test the many other cables I have floating around to see if I get any other faster charging speeds out of them. But it takes time to remember and test cables and know what works and what doesn't work. Having this kind of screen and readout is absolutely critical for being able to do that. And then of course, you might have noticed that there are these two big circles on the front screen that look an awful lot like Apple's MagSafe charging, which is exactly what it is. I'm not sure if it's literally MagSafe, I think it's just the Qi charging standard, but this is the only aspect of using this charger I didn't find totally outstanding, and that is the magnetic attachment is pretty weak. You can kind of put your phone on it and feel around, but it doesn't snap in with any confidence. It kind of floats just ever so slightly. But you'll know after a few seconds, of course, whether it's working because the phone itself will start charging. And it will give you a readout at the very bottom of the display here, the A1 section of how much energy is being taken. And yeah, so even now, for some reason, I can't quite find, it's really frustrating to not be able to find exact, oh, there it goes. So there it is. It's charging up. Let's see how quickly the MagSafe Qi charging ramps up. 4 watts, 5 watts. This is very exciting stuff, by the way. Obviously, anything charging through the magnetic attachment is going to be a lot slower than an actual cable, but all in, at the same exact time, you can charge your phone, you can charge your watch on this little circle, you can charge 100-watt PD, although that port is also what charges the battery itself. So if you need to charge while charging, you can do that, but you obviously lose a port. But you can do 100 PD, 20-watt PD, 60-watt PD, and 50-watt through USB Type A. So that's a fantastic number of options, a perfect balance in what I like. And then of course, there's just a tiny little button on the side to toggle the entire thing on and off. It's a perfect, convenient size. It's not super clunky and heavy. Feels like I could drop it a bunch and nothing's gonna happen to it. Very, very, very happy with this battery, which is why I wanted to make this quick, simple video. If you've been looking for sort of the ultimate of what I consider the best of all the trade-offs that exist with portable battery power, this is definitely the way to go. It's such a silly name. It's the Flash Pro Plus 190-watt USB-C power bank for Apple users. That's a lot of words. And the batteries they're using in here, for any battery nerds, which I'm not particularly, but I'm pretty sure it's the exact same batteries manufactured by Panasonic that are used in Tesla vehicles, which is always sort of a buzzword that battery manufacturers use, and not all of them actually use the exact same batteries. It's usually like a clone of it or a modified version. This is the actual Panasonic brand batteries, which should signal that it hopefully we'll have many years of usage without any serious tapering or depletion of the battery life. And yeah, I can just say, holding it in my hand, its build quality is excellent and I highly recommend it. I have absolutely no association with this company whatsoever. It's just something I bought, I enjoy. So I just wanted to share that opinion. As always, thank you so much for your time and I'll be back soon. Bye everyone.